students. I am Aparna Sharma, tutor for chemistry. So before I start the session, let me walk you through the Play6 site, how we are going to use or how we access the revision notes and test in Play6 website. If you go to play6.com and click on practice, we need to choose here. We are having different packages available here, but since we are going to talk about NEET Premium, let us select NEET Premium. And when you click on NEET Premium, we are having test for different subjects, and each subject has test chapter wise, and one NEET full test, which will have two sections. One section is having that test which is prepared by Play6 tutor, and the other section has complete past year past papers. So before and at the top we have the revision notes. If you click on revision notes, it opens in a new tab, and today we are going to talk about a chapter that is organic chemistry, some basic principles and technique. So when we talk about some basic principles, what is organic chemistry? So basically when we are saying about organic chemistry, as we all know, we come across different types of compounds in nature, out of which some are man-made, and out of them organic compound is also one form, or we can say form of one of the category. And there are two types of compound basically, inorganic and organic. So when we say inorganic, this is basically obtained from minerals, and organic, it is obtained from plant and animals. So when we say organic chemistry, so first thing is organic compounds, how we are using in our day-to-day life. They play a vital role in our life. That is, they are one of the important part of our body, or we can say our diet, or the medicines which we consume. And one important, we can say that unique element which we deal in our day-to-day life, that is carbon. But why we consider carbon to be an important factor or an important element? There are certain properties of carbon which make carbon a unique one. That is tetravalency, we can say. That is, it is a characteristic property of the carbon, of which it can form four covalent bonds. That is tetravalency. It can form four covalent bonds. Because we are having atomic number to be 6, and when we do an electronic configuration, we say it as 2, 4. That means 4 is in the outermost shell. And basically it has the tendency of forming covalent compounds. And one more important property which we should know is catenation. Because when we say tetravalent, carbon being tetravalent, it has the tendency of forming bond with 4 other carbon atom, or even it can form with monovalent atom. So carbon can be bonded to another carbon. That property we call it as catenation. This is a very unique property of carbon. That is the self-linking property of carbon. We call the term, it is catenation. And this is the main reason that of its existence of such large number of compounds. This is the main tendency because of which it exists in large number, or it is having tendency of forming a bond with large number of other elements and it forms a compound. A next important property is metamerism. It is due to the presence of different alkyl group on either side of the or either side of functional group in the molecule. So it has certain unique property which is making carbon different from the other elements. And when we talk about branches of organic compound, how many branches we have, because in further going chapter, we will be studying about each compound in detail. So when we say branches of organic compound, it is categorized into two, that is acyclic and cyclic. Cyclic is categorized into homoclinic and heteroclinic. And when we are saying acyclic, your homolytic, or you can say it is categorized into two, alicyclic and aromatic. So when we say aromatic, this is a very famous group which we are learning or which we are using in our day-to-day life, that is related to your benzene ring. So aromatic is classified into two types as benzenoid and non-benzenoid. So when we say what is homolytic or what is homocyclic, so homolytic or heterolytic, it is nothing but this is a cleavage of the bond. It is a cleavage of the bond. And when we say cleavage of the bond, what we say in it? That is nothing but it is a breaking in such a way that the shared pair of electrons will remain with one of the fragments. The shared pair of electrons will remain with one of the fragments. So when we are talking about different compounds or the branches of your organic compounds, the important part it comes is what are all the functional groups we talk, what are all the functional groups in it we learn. Because when we are saying the chapter name itself, it is basic principles of organic chemistry. That means the further coming chapters, when we learn about each functional group or when we learn about the compounds, this chapter is the base. And when we talk about functional group, what is a functional group? They are nothing but the atoms or group of atoms that will help us to determine the characteristic property of the organic compound. It helps us to determine the characteristic property of the organic compound. For example, if we can say alkanes, alkenes, alkynes, arenes, your alcohol, ether, aldehyde. So there are many. There is no hard and fast rule that these are all only the functional group. No, there are many, but each one based on the name we define that. Okay, if I say alcohol, the functional group it is OH. If I say aldehyde, it is CHO. If I say alkanes, it is single bond. If I say alkenes, it is double bond. So each one by name we are able to differentiate that. If I say this, it means so and so. So when that is what we are calling it as a functional group. Like we can have nitrite group, we can have ester, we have ketones and many more. So based on the functional group, we are able to decide the characteristic property. If I say OH, okay, fine, it is alcohol and alcohol has certain property. If I say CHO, it is aldehyde group. Okay, aldehyde, certain properties are applicable only for aldehyde. So based on the functional group, we are able to determine their characteristic property. And next we say what is homologous series. What is homologous series? Compounds having same functional group and same chemical properties, but they will differ by CH2 group and their atomic masses, mass by, sorry, their difference of atomic mass will be 14. So compounds having same functional group and same chemical properties, they will and there is a difference of CH2 group. That is what we say it as a homologous series. And when we talk about homologous series and we are saying that there is a difference of CH2 group, then we should know how the difference of CH2 group can be named. What are all the different methods of naming a compound? Or so we use or we follow the concept or the format of naming. We call it as IUPAC system, that is IUPAC system. It is nothing but International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. This is the format which we are using in order to name a given compound. So what are all the criteria or what are all the categories it is differentiated or it is spread? That is prefix plus word root plus suffix. So prefix, when we say, it can have the name as meth, eth, prop. We all know meth means 1, 2, 3 and so on. Prop, but, pent. All these terms are given in the place of prefix. And then you may have the word root, whatever is the compound, doesn't matter. And suffix is the section where it is having two types, we can say. One is the primary and the second one is your secondary. Primary means there that it is going to indicate the bond, whether it is your and second one, it is going to indicate the functional group. When we are saying primary suffix, it indicates the type of bond between carbon atom. That means either it can be an alkane group, which means it is a single bond, alkene group, which means it is a double bond, alkyne, triple bond. So primary suffix will help us to find out whether the given compound is an alkane, alkene or alkyne. And if suppose we are having secondary method is having the functional group, that functional group can be of an alcohol, it can be of aldehyde, it can be of ester and many more. So this is the format which we are using to indicate or in order to name a compound. And if functional group, we can say if more than two functional group are being present, then one is treated as the main functional group and the other one, it will be treated as a substituent. And the prefix used for your functional group, like we can have the halogens, your chloro, fluoro, bromo, iodo and so on. So it depends what is given in the compound, but the method which we are using in order to name those compound is prefix plus the word root plus suffix, and that we say it as your IUPAC system of naming a compound. And next, when we talk about the types of organic compound, here we are having different types of organic compound. That is nothing but the name, we say it as hydrocarbon. And hydrocarbon can be of two types, that is saturated and unsaturated. So when we say saturated and unsaturated, what is saturated and what is unsaturated? Saturated is alkanes, and we have a general formula for alkanes, that is CnH2n plus 2, and saturated compounds or saturated hydrocarbon, it has another name you will come across, that is called as paraffins. Paraffins. And when we talk about unsaturated, it has two categories, that is alkenes and alkynes, that is CnH2n, and alkynes formula is CnH2n minus 2. And unsaturated, the other name is olefins. The other name is olefins. So, and if suppose you are having, we are having primary carbon, that is if carbon atom is joined one other carbon atom, then we say that it is a primary carbon. It can be secondary if carbon atom is joined to two other carbon atom, we call the name as secondary, tertiary, quaternary and so on. And one more we have, that is called as alkyl halide. Alkyl halide, the general formula for that, it would be just simple You can say CnH2n plus 1, or simple if we try to calculate from alkane, if you remove one of the hydrogen and replace with any of your halide group, then we say that as alkyl halide. In the same way, we have the different general formulas for alcohol, aldehyde, carboxylic acid, your esters, and many more. So these are all the basic organic compounds which we see in our regular chapters. And about each one, alcohol, phenols, and ether, we have a separate chapter. Ketones, we have a separate chapter. Amines, we have a separate chapter. So in further going, we will be studying about each functional group in much detail in the coming chapters. And next, when we talk about the compound, that is our aromatic compounds. What is aromatic compounds? So as we say aromatic, it itself means that we should have the benzene ring in it. And aromatic says we should have compounds that is having at least, or we can say which contain at least one benzene ring. So it is, then we call the name, or the name given to it is aromatic compound. And when we say hexagon of carbon atom, benzene means what? It is nothing but the hexagon of carbon atom with 3 alternate double bond. Hexagon of carbon atom with alternate double bond. So when we say aromatic compounds, there should be some rules for naming also. Benzene, it is, we have said, okay, it is hexagon of carbon atom with 3 alternate double bond. But there are different forms where you will have the, that is, we say it as, if two side chains are adjacent to each other, then we name it as ortho. If two side chains are alternate to each other in the other way, we can say it is, if two side chains are adjacent, it is ortho. If two side chains are alternate, it should be meta. And if two side chains are present diagonally, then it will be para. So when we say, if we draw the structure, you could say it as this position and this position. If we are having adjust, that means it is adjacent to each other, it will go to ortho. Then alternate to each other, that means position 1 and 3, it is meta, and 1 and 4, then we say it as your para. So there are different forms of benzene where it is being attached, and that is also important to note, because when we are naming, we say it as ortho. We need that value, ortho, para, meta, and because of the positioning. And some other common compounds we come across is your phenol, toluene, aniline, naphthalene. So it is very important to know the structure of those compounds, that is phenol, toluene, aniline, naphthalene, anthracene, and many more. So benzene, whenever we are using, or when benzene ring is being used as a substituent, it is named as phenyl. And numbering can be done from any side, that is, it depends. And hence you will have different rules to be followed before we name a aromatic compounds. And next important factor which we should know is called as isomerism. Isomerism, we have seen that existence of compound in two or more forms having same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties. That means they have the same molecular formula but their physical and chemical properties differ. And in high level categorization we say, or it is basically classified into two types, that is structural and stereomerism. There are two types of isomerism, that is, it is classified into two types, structural and stereomerism. Structural isomerism, when we say it differs in arrangement, the name itself says structural. Hence, we should understand that there is a difference in the arrangement of atoms within the molecule. And if we talk about stereomerism, isomerism, it is nothing but there is a difference in arrangement of atom in space. There is a difference in arrangement of atoms in space. But basically, when we talk about structural isomerism can be classified into different types. That is, we can have chain, position, functional, metamerism, and Toto. So when we say chain, that means the compound, they will have the same molecular formula, but of course they will have different arrangement of atoms within the chain, different arrangement of atoms within the chain. And simple, the name position, again it will say the compounds, they are going to have the same molecular formula, but there will be difference only in the position of the substituents. That is, you can say either of their functional group with which it is being attached, their position may change. They will differ in the position of the substituents. That is either a side chain it can be, or it can be the functional group. And when we talk about functional isomerism, it is the compound with same molecular formula, but they differ in type of functional group and also in their physical and chemical properties. And when we say metamerism, that is the compound, they will have the same molecular formula, but they will have differ in the number of carbon atoms around their functional group, and this can be shown by the functional groups like ester, ether, ketones. These are all the example of metamerism. And when we say about tautomerism, it is actually just simultaneous movement of your pi electrons will be there, and hydrogen take place. So most common tautomerism example where you could see that is ketoenol. That is, ketone will be equal to alcohol. And when you're talking about stereoisomerism, we are having three different classification of it, that is geometrical, optical, and conformational. Geometrical, when we say, it is going to arise due to restricted rotation of RC double bond C. Restricted rotation around C double bond C bond. And the conditions, if we are saying that where the geometrical isomerism exists or where it is possible for its formation, it is 100% that you should have the presence of C double bond C. And the two groups, it can be attached, and there may be a difference in their attachment. Hence, it should have the presence of C double bond C. And when we talk about conformational, it exists in alkanes, and it is due to full rotation around the C single bond C. It is due to full rotation around C single bond C. So we say that it is a conformational isomerism. And when we say, and next when we talk about our inductive effect, that is, inductive effect is nothing but the displacement of electron along the chain of carbon atom, and that is due to the presence of an atom or group at the end of the chain. That is, we can also say that it is a permanent effect that arises when some electron releasing or withdrawing group is being attached to the chain of alkane. It is the permanent effect. It's very important factor to note, hence I am repeating. It is a permanent effect that arises when some electron releasing or withdrawing group is being attached to the chain of alkane. And even our inductive effect can be of two types, that is either it can be plus effect or minus effect. So when we say plus effect, or what should be the difference between plus effect and minus effect? Minus effect, if we talk about, it is shown when the electrons withdrawing group is being attached to the carbon chain. It is shown when electrons withdrawing group is attached to the carbon chain. And when we say plus, it is shown when electrons releasing group is attached to the carbon chain. For example, we can say the alkyl group. So this is what we say about our inductive effect. And next we are having two types of bond fission, that is homolytic and heterolytic. So when we say homolytic and heterolytic, what does we mean in that? Because bond fission is an important factor. And when we say homolytic, that is our attack and homolytic and heterolytic. And one important factor which we should know is called as attacking agent. What is attacking agent? Because we are having many reaction intermediates which we should know, that is our free radicals. It can be, that is free radicals. It is basically formed as a result of our homolytic fission. Due to this, you will have extra electron and they will be quite reactive. So there are different categories, or when a reaction takes place, there are different intermediates which is actually taking place. So we may have free radicals, or we can say carbocation, that is your carbocations. It is formed as a result of hydrolytic fission, and it is the carbon with 6 electron and a positive charge. It is the carbon with 6 electron and a positive charge. Or if we talk about carboanions, that is they are carbon with 8 electrons and they will be basically electron rich. They act as a Lewis base and they are formed as a result of heterolytic fission. So there are certain properties which is existing because of the bond fission. An attacking agent, when electrons occur, attacking agents attack and the product is being formed. That is, whenever a reaction is going to take place, attacking agent attacks and the product is being formed. Hence, we can say that attacking agents can be of different types. That is our free radical, nucleophile, electrophile. So, free radical, it is with unpaired electrons. Nucleophile with extra electrons, that is they will start acting as a Lewis base and it is nucleus lover. So they are either neutral with lone pair, or when we talk about electrophile, it is with positive charge and they will have less electrons and they have the tendency of acting as a Lewis acid. So there are different categories when we are saying that if a reaction is taking place, it should have the different criteria to satisfy. And because of which, then we have different types of organic reaction. So when we say different types of organic reaction, what are all the reactions? We have substitution reaction, addition reaction, and elimination reaction. So of course, substitution reaction is a reaction in which atoms or group of atoms are being substituted by the other atom. It is just being substituted by the other atom. So we say those type of reactions to be substitution reaction. For example, we can say if CH4 is reacting with Cl2, what happens? It is just a split, that is CH3 Cl plus HCl. Hence we can say one hydrogen is being removed from this and it is being added, or it is being replaced in place of hydrogen and chlorine. One hydrogen removed from this gets added with Cl, and one Cl splits and gets added with CH3. So we get CH3Cl plus HCl. Hence we could say that it is a substitution reaction. And when we talk about addition reaction, in this multiple bond gets converted to form single bond because of addition of some atoms. Multiple bond gets converted to form single bond due to addition of some atoms. That is addition reaction. And then when we say elimination reaction, it is the reaction in which a small molecule is released. It mostly occurs in the presence of alcoholic KOH. It requires alcoholic KOH, and it is of different types, but most common type which we all know is beta elimination. Rearrange, and we are having the different types, but most important is our beta elimination. So this is all the types of reaction which we are going to use in coming chapters. And next we have to study about the different types of purification. That is, there are various methods being involved in purification. We say it as sublimation, crystallization, distillation, chromatography. We have differential extraction method. So many processes is being used in order to purify. That is, if for example, if we take sublimation, it is the process in which solid directly changes to gaseous form. On heating and on cooling, the gaseous state converts it into solid state. So the basic thing which we can say is this technique is being used to separate substance that will show sublimation from substance that actually do not have the tendency to sublime. And when we say crystallization, it is the method being used, or this method is based on the difference in the solubility of the compound and the impurities in the suitable solvent. So the impure compound is being dissolved in a solvent in which it is sparingly soluble at room temperature, but appreciably it will be soluble at higher temperature. The solution is concentrated to get the saturated solution, and on cooling the solution, pure compound will crystallizes out and it is being removed by filtration. And then the filtrate which is containing the impurities, that and small quantity of the compound will get separated. In the same way as we are doing crystallization, we can do with distillation. This method is also used to separate volatile liquid from non-volatile impurities. And it is also the liquid that will have difference in their boiling point. So what happens is the difference with different boiling point will vaporize at different temperature. And then when these vapors are being cooled and the liquid form will be collected, can be collected separately. So there are different techniques, and it depends upon what we want to separate, what type of material we require in order to separate, and based on it we can take the method of purification. So on the basis of concept from this chapter, we have come to an end. So let us try taking test. And so hence, when we want to take a test from a specific chapter, if we go to NEET Premium, we have chemistry here. Let us go to chemistry, and you could see different bubbles with different color. Green indicates that the test is already taken. Blue indicates that it is yet to be taken, and R is a random test which you can take in order to take or in order to have additional practice. Since today we are taking some basic concepts, let us select that chapter and go to the test. And if you try taking test, to have a focus on the time, because time is also very important factor. It is not enough if we know the answer, but it is also important that we should know the, we should finish the test within given or specified time. So here it is just, the question is the correct decreasing order of vapor phase dipole movement. It's very simple to say when we know the electronegativity of the halogen. The electronegativity order of the halogen, it's a well-known fact. It is fluorine greater than chlorine, greater than bromine, greater than iodine. So the dipole moment of F will be less than that of chlorine because of the small size. Though the electronegativity value of fluorine is more than chlorine, but their dipole moment of S is lesser compared to chlorine because of the small size of fluorine. Hence, here when we see, we have an order that is CH3, Cl should come first compared to F, and the other two, we all know it. So our option C should be the right option. Let us save that and go to next. The reaction RClONA, we have to find out the reaction is catalyzed by addition of small amount of NaI. Why we add sodium iodide in any reaction? We all know electronegativity. Iodine is actually, when you arrange the order, the electronegativity of the element order is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. So when we say iodine, it is least electronegative, and hence it's very important to say that it will be a good nucleophile, and also it is a very good leaving group. It has the tendency, or it is a very good leaving group. Hence we can say that iodide ion is both better nucleophile as well as a good leaving group. So our option should be B. Sorry, C. Iodine ion is both better nucleophile as well as a good leaving group. Hence option C should be the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. So the rate of R, this reaction they have given, L is a good leaving group, and the rate of the reaction is maximum when Li is X, and we have to find out what is that X. So once again the same concept we can apply, that the bond between your Li and I, as I told you, I has the tendency of, it's a very good leaving group. So the bond between Li and I is very weak, and it can be broken very easily compared to the other bond in the available option. So the option D should be the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. Which of the following is correct? Decreasing order of rate of reaction with isopropyl, neopentyl, methyl, alkyl. So the property we should remember is steric factor. It is an important factor based on which you can decide the case of your SN2 reaction. That is, it can be substitution, but electronic factor will also play an important role. Hence, you could say that greater reactivity of your aryl, allyl, and methyl is because of the electronic rate. Hence, we can say that the order will be aryl, allyl, methyl, isopropyl, and neopentyl. So we could say aryl, allyl, methyl. This is just and the order of their reactivity. Hence, it is better to remember that, and it would be easy for you to answer the question. Save that and go to next. Next one says that bromocyclopentane. It gives cyclopentane. Which of the following or correct order of decreasing rate of elimination of various bases? It is just a concept once again that we have to talk about the order of rate. So do remember, the order of rate of elimination will always decrease with increase in basicity. If there is an increase in basicity, their order of elimination will decrease. Hence, we can say that order of your OH will be greater than CN, COO. So this order is a decreasing rate of elimination because their basicity is decreasing. Hence, we can save that and go to next. In which of the following pair one species is incorrectly indicated, which would give higher substitution or elimination ratio when it reacts with isopropyl bromide? So when we say reaction, once again, the same rule applies that greater the basicity, higher will be the elimination, and greater the nucleophilicity. So except in your OCN minus or your SCN minus, all others we can say that it is correctly matched except our option C. So let us save that and go to next. The only factor do remember is greater the basicity, higher the elimination and substitution ratio. And when you have elimination and substitution to be higher, once again their nucleophilicity will be high. We are having the predominant product when 3-methyl-2-pentane reacts with HOCl. So when it is reacting with HOCl, so suppose let us write the reaction. When we say 3-methyl, if we are saying the reaction, it would be very simple to say that when it is reacting your, option 3-methyl-2-pentane, when it is reacting with HOCl, what would be the product formed? In the given option, we have to see which is the product obtained, and yes, we have to focus which is the major product. That is also important. It is an important factor that we see what is we are obtaining in the major product. So 3-methyl-2-pentane, when it is HOCl, it is immediately which should strike us that how the replacement will take place for HOCl with 3-methyl-2-pentane. So when we write that reaction, it is CH3, CH2, C, CH3, double bond, C, CH3, and here we say that it is HOCl. So it's of course that using our Marconi's rule, we can do the reaction. It is CH3, CH2, C, OH, CH3, CH, Cl, and CH3. So using our Marconi's rule, in which goes to the carbon atom that will, which is more hydrogenated. So if based on Marconi's rule, we can check the product, and option we are having CH3 here, CH3OH Cl. So CH3OH Cl, our option A should be the right one. So in this, where we have A, let us save that and go to next. And when it is reacting, we have to see the product B of the above reaction. So it's very simple to say the product B of the above reaction. It is TSCl, that is pyridine, and LAH, it stands for lithium aluminium hydride. So the basic product is formed. TSCl, it will give you the product, that is your option C. So we have to choose from this option. Let us save that and go to next. So based on this, we have to check which is the graph for our SN2 reaction. When we look at the graph for SN2 reaction, we have to look for a simple condition that it is, they have given between two different angles. So if we are saying SN2 reaction, do remember a single concept, that is your SN2 reaction is directly proportional to 1 by steric Crowding near to the reaction center. So whenever we try to compare that, it would be very simple to find out. So when you look at the option, we have to say isopropyl, butyl. So all these options, when they have given, we have to choose which is undergoing in the decreasing order, because it should be inversely proportional. Hence, this alone graph, that is your graph A alone, will have the decreasing order. All others, if you look at, it is the one, it is going straight. Here it is having different arrangement, and this is in the increasing order. Hence, if you see, since it is inversely proportional, we should say that it should have the decreasing order. Hence, our option A should be the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. This is also the same format. We have to just see which is the right product for it. So when it is allyl alcohol, when it is reacting with HBr, when allyl alcohol reacts with HBr, addition of HBr to allyl alcohol will result basically in two products. That is, one we can say it as your major product and the other one as minor product. When you say major product, the product is 3-bromo 1-propanol. 3-bromo 1-propanol, and minor product will be 2-bromo 1-propanol. 2-bromo 1-propanol. Hence our option A should be the right one, because we have to choose only the major product, not the minor one. Let us save that and go to next. Which of the following is most reactive towards SN2 reaction? Once again, the same concept, it applies for the order of SN2 reaction. When we learn in detail about SN2 reaction, it would be more simpler, that with increase in polarity of your inert pair attack, that is, ion pair attack of the nucleophile will increase. Hence, the rate of the reaction will also increase. It is a concept for the SN2 reaction. Hence, our option D should be the right option. Let us save that and go to next. Allyl chloride on dehydrochlorination gives. Allyl chloride on dehydrochlorination gives. It's a well-known fact. It will give you propadiene. It will give you propadiene. Option. Save that and let us go to next. At higher temperature, iodoform reaction is given by. At higher temperature, iodoform reaction is given by. We can say that in detail about iodoform reaction we will learn in coming chapter, but our answer should be CH3COCH3. Save that and go to next. Which of the following are correct order of nucleophilicity? Correct order of nucleophilicity. This is also whichever is more nucleophile. Here in the given option, if we see, our ETO is more nucleophile than OH minus, and that will be highly resonance stabilized compared to the other one. Hence, we can say that option here A, B, C, D should be the right option. So let us save and go to next. So we can click enter since we have completed the questions. And once you click enter, it will give you the result saying what are all the questions we have done right, and green indicates that the questions are correct, and red, if you would have gone any answer to be wrong, it would have indicated in red color. And as of course orange color means that we have missed that question, we have not attempted that question. And if suppose you are gone wrong with any of the question, you can click on that particular question. It will give you the answer as well as the explanation of that answer. Hence, you can get the right answer with explanation. That is all we have for today's class. And if you have any doubts, in any of the concept or question, you can reach out to us with the help of Ask feature or with the help of Classic Telegram chat application. And in case if you require any additional support from the tutors for any specific chapter, irrespective of the subject, it can be physics, chemistry, or biology, you can reach out to Classics Management for one-to-one tutoring from the Classics tutors. Thank you, students.